This is Ice Cream Gecko, and in today's video we're going to check out 3 different Maggi 5-Minuten-Terrinen, Maggi 5-minute pots, hot chili noodles, spaghetti bolognese and the broccoli pasta pot. Instant noodles one could call them as well. They are alright usually. I bought these on sale for 59 cents each, and today we're going to try out each and every one of these. We're going to start with the broccoli noodle pot. Let us set these two aside. Looks okay, I guess, until October of 22. We've got the best by date. Here we've got the front, we've got the Nutri-Score, and we've got the preparation instructions. And here we have the ingredients list and the nutrition table. I'm sure this is going to be incredibly healthy, and it's made, of course, by my favorite company. Didn't know that Maggi was owned by Nestlé. Didn't know that. Anyway, let's open it up here. And it looks really uneventful. Reminds me a lot, this one in particular reminds me a lot of the Knorr, what was it? Mushroom and cream sauce instant noodles that I reviewed 2 or 3 years ago on this channel. Really reminds me of that, but the color of it. You can see the pasta itself. It is incredibly thin, so, you know, it needs to be right. It needs to kind of cook with just simmering hot water, because that water is going to cool off quite quickly anyway. I'm going to heat up some water, I'm going to pour it, and we are going to wait for 5 minutes and then be back in front of the camera with the instant noodles, the broccoli noodle part. A bit more than 5 minutes later we return to the focal range of the camera, and here we are. Fully prepared. I hope it is fully prepared. I hope it is properly prepared. Maybe I put a bit too much water in, but this is the fill line right there, so I think I'm good. We can see right here the pasta itself is thin, it is soft. Something that did remind me of older days, I must say, is the smell of this stuff when it is unprepared. It very much smelled like the rabbit food we gave our rabbits quite a few years ago. One time I tried some, and it was spicy. It looked like it was just grass and some plants and stuff, but it was spicy. It was hot, sharp in flavor, stingy a little bit. Well, it's not for human consumption usually, isn't it? Alright, here we go. Let's see what this smells like. Yes, this does actually smell like dinner, like some dinner. Pasta dinner? I maybe should have put a bit less water in here. It is quite runny, but so far so good. Let's give this a bit of a taste test. Something that is surprising, I have to say, is that, well, the pasta is of course quite thin. You can see it very well right here. Maybe I should zoom in on this a little bit. It is really incredibly thin. Look at the cross section of this. Not quite like paper, but we are there. Roll it 1 or 2 more times and we are there. No, but it's nice and creamy. You can definitely taste the broccoli. You can feel the stalks of the broccoli. Overall, it is fine. A bit less water, maybe than the fill line, would do well as well. But so far, so good. The pasta is fine. The creaminess of what I guess has now become a sauce is fine. The broccoli is okay as well. You still have some sort of stalk structure from the broccoli, which is fine. You can see some pieces right here, like this one. Overall, decent enough for some instant noodles, I would say. I'll finish this off and I'll continue. Consumption of the broccoli noodle pot is complete, so let us jump into the hot chili noodles now. 5-minute pot again. Pause if you want to take a look at the front of this. Nutri-Score of B, the other one was a C. Here we've got the preparation instructions. 59 grams of ingredients are in this pot. Pause if you want to read the ingredients list. Pause if you want to read the nutrition table. And pause if you want to read further information on the company that makes this. Nothing too interesting on the bottom. Let us open this one up. So this looks like a weird mixture of, well, it looks like cut up elbow macaroni, something like that. Looks a bit weird. It smells quite paprika-y, quite spicy. It smells a lot like like a pre-made goulash spices mix, something along those lines. Yeah, it does smell really good, I have to say. So I'll be back with you in just a second and the fully prepared hot chili noodles. And here we continue with number 2, fully prepared, hopefully. Let's stir this one last time, see how it is. If that paprika scent has translated into proper paprika flavor. If it is really all that hot, the hot chili noodles. The noodles look weirder than the previous ones did, but it seems like they fit better on a little spoon like this one. Alright, this should be sufficient. Here we have what looks like maybe some legumes. This looks like a bit of paprika, the red stuff. This right here could actually be carrot, but no, I think this is paprika as well. If not chili, you never really know. And some people call chili paprika and paprika chili and use the terms interchangeably. I've tried to be a bit more careful in that regard. It certainly smells a lot like it did previously. It smells a bit more rounded off, not as powdery. Who would have thought? Let's see how this is. Yes, the first spoonful is quite alright. Not powdery at all. Very paprika chili-y. The pasta is fine. Tastes a bit like we've got some peas in here. Some beans, or at least the hull of the beans. Overall, it's creamy enough as well, like the previous one. This actually is a bit more creamy than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a bit more watery. But it's fine overall. Sticks to the pasta well enough to make consuming this as a whole possible. And overall it's not too hot. Although it is quite well tempered at the moment. I'm not halfway through this right now, but I want to take a moment and say that this is almost perfectly spiced. It is just on the point at which it becomes uncomfortably spicy. But it's still fine. It's very, very well balanced in that regard, I have to say. So I think I'm going to finish this off now and then we'll continue with contestant number 3. Contestant number 3 is complete, and what I can say is that I did underestimate this a little bit. It got hotter the further down I went, not temperature-wise, but spice-wise. If you really don't like hot noodles, hot stuff generally, then make sure to avoid this one, because well, I'm not like a spicy food connoisseur per se. I do tolerate some spice, and this is really on the verge of being just too much for a regular tongue like mine. So let us go to contestant number 3, a bit of a milder version of the 5-minute terrine pot, the spaghetti bolognese. Let us take a look at the front of it. No Nutri-Score on here, it seems. Maybe it's that good. Preparation instructions right here. 60 grams of goodness are inside. Pause if you want to read the ingredients list. Pause if you want to read the nutrition table. And pause if you want to read up on more information. There we go. Daily allowances and stuff that I always care about. This looks a lot sadder than the previous ones did, but we've got... What are these? Macaroni. I think those are supposed to be macaroni. They aren't spaghetti, because those right here do have a hole in them. Maybe I should zoom in on this a little bit. There you can clearly see that. Yes, it certainly does smell like instant pasta sauce that comes in powder. It reminds me of Miracoli, even though I didn't have Miracoli too many times because it's expensive. Luckily this is on sale. So yeah, let me prepare this fully and I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, more minutes have passed and it's time to enjoy the last of this holy trio of instant noodles, instant pasta. This right here is quite saucy. Looks like children's noodles with those small pieces right here, right? Cut down version of a weird old spaghetti. 3.6% of beef are in here. I assume that this is part of that. Some spices, some carrot pieces right here that we can see. Consistency-wise, it's fine. It's a bit too saucy for my liking when it comes to generally like spaghetti, pasta, or bolognese, but overall, yeah, it's like a to-go office version, right? A backup, not an actual meal. Smell-wise, it does smell like regular bolognese though. It smells good. It doesn't smell too artificial. And it also doesn't, it doesn't smell synthetic in any way. It smells quite carroty, tomatoey and carroty, which is good. It smells a bit like parsley as well. Overall, it seems to be fine. So let us taste it. So the first few spoonfuls are more creamy than I expected. The beef itself does have some resistance to it. I expected it to be just, simply like almost like a crouton, a pretty soft crouton, but it has got a bit of substance to it, which is good. Carrots are fine as well. Overall, the creaminess of this stuff is something I didn't expect in this particular way, but overall it's fine. Absolutely fine. The noodles themselves, let's go for just the noodles right here with a bit of sauce. Yeah, the noodles are surprisingly fine. I expected them to be, just a bit more soft than they are right now, but they're good. This hole in the middle of them, it's basically a noodle tunnel that we've got from the spoon here, seems to work quite well. They are small enough for all that water to get soaked up in there, and also that alternative entry into the innards of the noodle with that hole seems to work fine as well. So let's consume a bit more of this. Yeah, after a few more spoonfuls, it's still okay. I think I'm going to finish this now, and I'll be back with you and the full rating of this setup in just a minute. The consumption process of all three of these is now complete, and I'm a bit tired now. I've eaten more than I thought I would eat in the course of this video. But I'm going to rate all of these three on an average rating, and then we're going to be done with this. First impression has been decent overall. I didn't really have too much to complain. They all smelled all right. Nothing smelled like awful or anything like that. So I'm fine with them for the most part. Color-wise, same story here. Nothing really to complain about too much. Consistency and texture-wise, something that I didn't quite like was the spaghetti bolognese, the noodles themselves, although they were better than I expected, because I expected them to be a lot more awful than they eventually were. I don't know, it just didn't really work all that well for me. Same goes with the sauce consistency of all of these. The broccoli noodle pot, I did expect it to be a bit more creamy, like a broccoli cream sauce. That's fine, that's absolutely fine. With the hot chili noodles though, and the spaghetti bolognese, I didn't quite expect the creaminess that I got. Hot chili noodles were a bit more watery than this one, but still quite creamy, which was okay. But this stuff right here, even though it did taste nice of tomatoes, the sauce itself, I think it was too creamy, and because of it, it turned into sliminess the further we went down the cup, which is a bit unfortunate. Consistency and texture of the noodles, like I said, not that great. These ones also not that great. These ones were the best, I think, in consistency, because the broccoli that was in here did give it, some heft, something to bite on, in a way that I did not expect from instant broccoli noodle pots. But those were fine. When it comes to consistency and texture and the simplicity of the entire setup, I've got to say that the broccoli noodle pot is certainly the winner. Overall, consistency and texture for all of these three, on average, 1 out of 2 available points. Taste-wise, 3 out of 5 on average. This one was good, actually. It was quite good. This was, I think, maybe even a bit too hot, but it was fine-ish, I guess. This right here, I did like the tomatoey flavor. The beef was fine as well, but overall I think something didn't taste all that right. I don't exactly know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that this is instant noodles as spaghetti bolognese, and maybe it's just that instant bolognese just shouldn't be a thing that should exist? I'm not entirely sure when it comes to that question. I'm certainly not the right person to answer it. But overall, I think for instant noodles, 3 out of 5 points. They haven't been awful. They haven't been exceptionally great, but they have been fine. As a substitute for a meal, you need at least 2 of them, but then I think they are okay. At least these 3. Generally, they are okay. Themalization wise, they get 0.75 points on average. The broccoli noodle pod, I really don't have broccoli noodle pots in my spare time, so maybe that's just the reason why I like this the most, because I don't have anything to compare it to that it was actually good. The hot chili noodles were fine-ish, although I think this one really needs like thicker noodles. Same goes with the spaghetti bolognese. Those 2 weren't as great, but this one in particular, I do know what decent spaghetti bolognese tastes like, so maybe that's just something that makes me give this not the greatest rating of them all. 0.75 points out of 1 possible point is still the rating, though it's fine-ish, I would say. 6.75 is therefore the final rating for the Maggi 5-minute pots, the 5-Minuten terrines, I don't know. But what I do know is that it is time to end this particular video. If you've got a question or a video suggestion, leave it in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I'm going to see you soon. Until then, bye bye.